In this series of lectures, we will cover everything about language, from basic stuff like data types, structures, loops, iterators, ownership, traits, and many others, to advanced stuff like generics, macros, lifetimes, multithreading, and much more. Each section will have a ton of examples how to use Rust, because I believe it's the best way to learn a language. Some of its main benefits of using Rust is memory safety using his borrow checker. Rust ownership model makes concurrent programming much more manageable and less prone to bugs. Rust is also very fast, and in some benchmarks it's even faster than C++. So first thing that we need is to install Rust on our machine. So we will go now on the Rust main page. Here we see what is the latest version of the language. To install it, you just go to install page. Here, if you have some old machine, you can install this 30-bit to 32-bit version. I will go with 64-bit, so I will just download the installer and run it. So this is the output from the installer, and this is all the stuff that will be changed on your machine. I'm happy with all the defaults here, so I will just proceed with standard installation and just press enter. And we can see that Rust is installed on my machine. If you don't have Visual Studio build tools, maybe you need to do some additional step here. And we can close this window now. Before creating our first project, we will first verify if Rust is successfully installed on our machine. So first we will just open command prompt and see what version we installed. So rustc is called compiler, and yeah, we have the latest version installed, as you see on the web page. If you just call compiler without any option, then you get all the options that compiler accepts. For creating, building, and running projects, we will not use compiler directly. Instead, we will use Cargo, and Cargo is the Rust package manager. We can also verify if Cargo is successfully installed. So the same way as for compiler. Yeah, we have the latest version. And if you just enter without any option, you get all the options that Cargo accepts. And now we are ready for creating our first project. To create your first project, first navigate on your file system where you want this project to be created. Okay. Now using Cargo, we will create a new project. So use Cargo new command, and you just enter the name of your project. Also add bin flag, because we want to create binary executable. Next we will examine what Cargo created for us. So we see inside that we have this git ignore file that is used with git versioning system. We have also this Cargo toml that is a project configuration file, and we have this search directory where all Rust source code is placed. And currently inside we have only one file that is called main. Also Rust source code files has rs extension. The next thing that we can do is build and run this project. So we'll just use cargo run command, and we see that project is successfully built. Also it is executed, and we see here the output of our program. For editing Rust projects, you can use any editor as you like, but for this series of lecture I will be using Visual Studio Code. So now I will be open Visual Studio Code. And before you start editing your projects, I recommend that you install this Rust Analyzer extension, and with this extension you will get excellent support for Rust in Visual Studio Code. In addition to this, I also install CodeLLDB, and this is the native debugger for the compile languages like Rust. And with these two extensions, basically you have everything that you need for editing your projects in Rust. Now we can open a project that we created earlier. On the left side we see the project tree. We also see this target directory that was created using cargo run command, and here in the debug directory we also have our executable. For building and running projects from Visual Studio Code, you can just go to terminal and also just enter cargo run command, and we see the same output as from command prompt. Now we will examine the main source file. We see that inside the file we have the single function that is called main. Main is a special function that serves as entry point into our application. That means when you execute your project, this is the first thing that will be executed. And inside the body we have just a single statement that prints hello world on display. We can also see how cargo toml looks like. As I mentioned before, this is the main configuration file for our project, and yeah, it will be explained in detail in another lecture. Functions are basic building blocks and we will use them very often. So now I will add one more function. To begin defining function, we use the fn keyword. After that we have the name of the function. Then inside the parentheses we have the input arguments for the function. And after this arrow sign we have the return type of the function. Inside the curly braces is the body of the function. Here we just simply add two numbers together. To be more explicit for return value, you can use this return keyword, but if this is the last statement in the function, we can omit this. To call the function, we call it by name, so first we write the function name, and then inside the parentheses we send the numbers that we want to add together. Now we can run and see is everything working. Yeah, we see the output, so it worked as expected. You can also see this println that it looks like function call, but it is not. This exclamation mark tells us that this is the macro. Macro in the Rust is a piece of the code that generates another piece of the code, and this happens very early in compilation before any static checking. Macros will be explained in detail in another lecture. Also, in many other languages, you first need to define function before you can call it, but in the Rust doesn't have this restriction, so we can also place the function under the main and everything will still work as expected. And that's all about this first lecture. In the next lecture we will deep dive in the Rust primitive types. Bye.